So in this recording, I kind of wanted to go over like the political landscape of this country right now. This is actually a pretty complicated topic because there are things that I agree with that certain people are saying. And I think that like the huge problem that people like myself run into is the fact that we are in our situation and we have all these people who seem to have the right idea about things and they're leaving us in the situation. Like it seems like everybody would know what goes on. And we can't, people like myself, we can't understand why no one does anything. So like in the one of the recordings I made, I think it was 2 days ago, I talked about the church. I don't understand what's going on with the church. And one of the commenters on that video made the point that the church really is not expected to do anything to help people. I thought that was an interesting take on the church's responsibilities. I'm guessing he was saying that, what do you expect the church to do? Like the church is not going to help anybody. I don't know, like why he would think that. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, is the church expected to do right by people or help people? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to be too presumptuous. Okay, so first off, spiritual people, we have our own way. And I think that like, we're all kind of on the same page. So like, when it comes to political affiliation, I mean, if you were conservative and you embrace God, then we would be pretty aligned simply because you embrace God, not because you're a conservative. So like, if he says something and he said something because it was right and because it's the way it's supposed to be, how could you disagree with that? Is the point. So like when it comes to conservatives, conservatives, I mean, they have a knowledge of the Bible, and I mean, if you had a knowledge of the Bible, you can speak a lot of truths because you have a knowledge of the Bible. So, like a conservative can say all of the right things because the conservatives have a knowledge of the Bible. Like, it's like he's educated, and I talked about this before, but I don't know if I made my point clear. He's educated, so like, so he knows right. He knows what's right. And if he wanted to, he could say, hey, this is how it's supposed to be. And he would know this because he has a knowledge of the Bible. So like, I don't really take sides because, like I said, it's one thing to know the truth and to speak the truth, and it's a whole nother thing to act on it. So like, people can tell us the truth, and we will be happy they told it to us, but that's not necessarily mean it's something that they practice. So I agree with a lot of what gets said in like conservative or Christian circles simply because they have that information through spiritual understanding that they were probably taught. I mean, they could have been taught it. I don't know. Like, they could have been taught it. I mean, a lot of these people grow up being taught the teachings of the Bible. So like, it's not about whether they know these things. It's about whether these things are part of them or they are, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's with them. Like, it's who they are. So there's a difference. It's like the difference between knowing something and believing in it. Okay, so like, you can know something and not believe in it, but like, if necessary, you could just spew it or tell people about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's your belief. So like, I think that like what happens with them especially is like, they can tell you a truth and you'll just be so happy that somebody told you a truth, that somebody sees things the way you see things, and you can actually get caught up in that. And it's kind of like, you're hearing the truth for the first time and it's resonating with you. So like I listen to conservatives and I'm actually glad that they are telling it how it is a lot of times. That's why when you think about it, like in one of the other recordings I made, I mean, I was in agreement when they were talking about conspiracies and there's this control system. Any person who's a TI knows that there really is a conspiracy. There are conspiracies and there is a control system. We don't know for sure who's doing the controlling, whether it's the liberals or Jews or who the hell is behind it, but we know it's real. Like freedom of speech. Obviously, they're controlling that. Obviously, they're controlling a lot of things. So the stuff they say seems very real and believable. The problem is we don't know if they're the good guys or not. And that's why I go back to the church example. The church knows these things. The church, I mean, there has to be conservatives in this area. There has to be. So like what we are left wondering is, why aren't these people trying to, first off, why aren't they addressing the stalking? Why isn't that a major issue that they're talking about? How could they not know? How could they not know? And second, why aren't they actually trying to fix this or at least help people in this situation? I mean, there are plenty of ways they can help people. Conservatives have all this wealth. I mean, with wealth is like power, and with power comes responsibility, if you think about it. So we have wealthy conservatives who know the Bible and they can quote the Bible and they can make us feel really good about a lot of things they say, because we're like, yeah, these things are real. Like I hear them and, you know, they mirror a lot of my thoughts. So like, of course they're going to mirror my thoughts. They know the Bible. They know the Bible. So God's word is God's word. If I told you God's word, you'd like it because it's God's word and that's how it is. I mean, you would just be like, this is great because you're hearing God's word, his commandments, and it's resonating with you on a spiritual level because it's God's word. So they have this knowledge. But the question always goes back to, why aren't they helping the people in need? Like doing things that actually better the world is more than a message. They actually have power. With their great wealth comes great power, and with their great power comes great responsibility. But the only thing they really do is they talk, but they don't. There's not a lot of action. So I don't really know why the church, with the power it has, chooses to not really do a whole lot for anybody in need. And why these people in the conservative party who are super wealthy, who don't really seem to want to do anything to actually help people other than talk. They're compensated for their talk. I also want to mention that they're compensated for it. They're not doing it for free. I mean, they're getting a lot of money for it. And I think that even the Democrats sort of see that and they're like, okay, yeah, you are saying this stuff, but then again, you are being well compensated for it. And there are plenty of people who need help who don't get it and have your same ideas, and nothing happens with them. I mean, you know, they do what they do and they're just poor and nobody cares and they're getting pissed on. So I don't really know, like, okay, when you talk about power, the real power on this planet comes from wealth and connections and that kind of thing. That's where political collections, like the political structure and money is the real power. I don't care how powerful I am. That's where the power comes from, okay? Power on this planet comes from money at the top, really. The money's at the top. And political collection, I could be nigh omnipotent. Unless I'm using it for violence, the power would still lie within the structure, within the structure of the country. Like, unless you are like, I don't know, like you're the Scarlet Witch, you could be the Scarlet Witch and just be like, yo, I'm Scarlet Witch. Unless you were using it for violence, like you just went out and started killing people and they had to get the army in and you wiped out everybody. I mean, if you're not using it for that, you don't really have power. You don't really have it for power. You'd have to be like a tyrant with all sorts of amazing abilities or something in order for that to matter. The power is with the money and the connections. That's why I said that, these people are the ones with the power, and so they have the responsibility. But we all can agree that a lot of these messages are good, and it's good that people are speaking out who have a voice. So I'm not saying that that's bad. I mean, I think that's good. I mean, especially in places like this, God's word can't be spoken enough, which is why I'm probably going to start talking about it, because we definitely need to be talking about it with all this sadism going on in these communities, all the bad in these communities. Like, I'm glad they are using their platforms to speak about these things, and that's definitely good. But like I said, a lot of responsibility comes with all their power and money. I mean, they are well compensated. I'm just saying they are well compensated. But we do need people with a voice to speak on these things. I mean, I don't want to be the only person. So like, I'm just saying, like, if it were me, like, look, plenty of people could use some help with the criminals and the bullies and the psychopaths and all whatever dark organization is behind the gang stalking. This dark organization has to be fought and challenged. So I'm, like, if the only thing they're willing to offer is their voice, I guess we'll have to take it. But I really think that there is a spiritual war, and we need to win this war. We need to win this war, okay? With these people, these psychopaths, this control system, all the TIs, everybody, under God, we have to fight these people, under God. I think that everybody, if you're on God's team, you realize that there's a war brewing. It's going to be us versus these people. These psychopaths, this control system, all these gang stalkers. There's going to be a war between us and them at some point, and we need to choose sides and figure out how we're going to go forward. So that is my take. But remember, with the great power comes the great responsibility. That's why I don't know, like, what they're doing or what their take is on the situation and why they're not discussing it. It should be discussed. It should be brought up. So just to be clear, like I do want to be clear. I mean, so a lot of these good messages you hear, I will agree with the messages, but like I said, I have questions. That's why I'm not going to like get involved with the politics. Like there are a lot of things that don't really seem to add up completely. So, so yeah. So like when you hear the message, you just have to keep that in mind, I suppose, regardless of what side you're on. When you hear their message, you have to sort of be, look at it from different angles. Okay. You can't just jump on board thinking that it's exactly what you expect it to be. With that said, let me go ahead and close.